When the name Chris Hansen is brought up, most people will almost always associate the name with Dateline NBC and his share of shows that he had done prior to coming to YouTube. But nowadays, there might be a few other things the name Chris Hansen is associated with. The man himself, Chris Hansen, is no stranger to controversies. His shows themselves having their fair share of controversies around them, and now in recent times, in relation to the Onision investigation, along with, accusations of scamming, lying, manipulation, selling out, and a myriad of other accusations. So, Chris Hansen, why don't you take a seat over there as I present my case?
I think what some of the content creators have done, and to take things that are out of context.
Apparently you're sending the FBI after me.
And create a misinformation campaign. And they use bots.
After being fired from the NBC due to a scandal, he attempted to regain his glory, so to speak, that he had lost, though that did not work out that well. You see, he started a Kickstarter to make a new show like his prior show. When the Kickstarter first came out, fans of Chris Hansen and his Dateline NBC show flocked to it excitedly, looking forward to the return of his beloved show. The goal was set at $400,000, which only raised $89,000 with 1,220 backers around September 2016. As per any Kickstarter, you can offer people who pledge to your Kickstarter pledge tiers, which each tier being more expensive than the other, however offering rewards. None of it actually came true to the people that did pledge. Only a few people were lucky enough to actually get what they paid for. There were many promises made, many comments made about the situation by Chris Hansen himself, which have yet to be fulfilled. That was the first red flag that there were big money issues. Then in January 2019, Chris Hansen was arrested for paying for $13,000 worth of promotional items. $13,000 worth of items with a bad check. After Hansen was unable to reach his Kickstarter goal, broadcast rights are sold, 1,220 backers have still yet to get the items they paid for. But don't worry, the show that was promised was in fact aired in 2016-17. However, the show was only available in the United States and select local channels, and it never really got anywhere, so to speak. The Kickstarter revealed that Chris Hansen has a debt of, a small amount of just over $1 million. Nothing big. Absolutely just pocket change. It turns out that he owes money in taxes, to banks, mortgage, so on and so forth, which also resulted in him being evicted from his New York City apartment. With the knowledge of his money troubles and issues, people started looking at his actions with a far more critical eye than before. Now we know that his return to TV, so to speak, did not do too good, and he still has a massive debt to pay off in that desperate situation with seemingly no way out. What do you do? Well, you become a YouTuber, of course.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Chris Hansen came to YouTube, and in the beginning he was barely growing, simply re-uploading clips from his old shows and at some point doing live streams, though he clearly did not know what he was doing. However, he was welcomed by the community nonetheless. As time went on and Chris was trying to make it in the YouTube game, so to speak, eventually his crosshairs landed on Onision, which in many ways saved whatever was left of his career. Now at this point he had only heard whispers or rumors about Onision from a few creators. And eventually it led to him having one of his live streams talking about her experiences with Onision and his abhorrent actions. The interview with Sarah was the beginning of many victims of Onision coming out and speaking out about their experiences and what have they, and many more appearing on Chris Hansen's live stream to talk about the man himself and their experiences with him. And that's when Chris saw his YouTube channel beginning to gain traction, gain a loyal following that wanted to support this acclaimed, accomplished journalist man who will finally take down the all-powerful, evil overlord Onision. This same loyal fanbase would go after anyone who dared to criticize or question Chris Hansen's actions, because Onision must be taken down. So for the longest time, things seemed good for Chris in regards to his YouTube career. That is until Vincent and Chris himself got themselves into, let's say, a myriad of controversies. Now, I shortly mentioned that Chris was re-uploading clips onto his channel without a real clue as to how to exist on the YouTube platform. Now, let me explain further. When Chris Hansen first created his YouTube channel, Hansen vs Predator, he quickly started posting footage belonging to NBC and Crime Watch Daily. Even more so, he re-uploaded other YouTubers' videos, specifically videos that were made about his old show. Mind you, without permission or credits or anything really. Now, at some point, due to Chris using other creators' edited content, one creator got annoyed enough to issue Chris Hansen a big old strike. And what followed was a war between the community and Chris Hansen. Quite quickly, before anyone could even register what the hell was happening, Chris Hansen copyright striked almost every single video that in any way used, referenced anything Chris Hansen. Even videos that did not contain any footage that would be in any way considered his. Even small channels such as myself, gone in an instant, just snap, gone. More channels were lost in this war than I can possibly ever name. One of the most well-known people to get hit is Baked Salmon. That's when bigger creators took notice and started fighting back against Chris Hansen. Although it has been said by Chris that these copyright strikes were done by Vincent Nicotra, I still find it highly unlikely that Chris had absolutely nothing to do with it. Absolutely 0%. At this moment in time, a fair number of creators did counter the strikes and claims and have their channels or videos back, but still a number of creators lost not just their videos but also their channels. This was just the start of the many controversies to come, and we have finally reached a point where Chris's luck changed when he finally interviewed Sarah on a live stream with Vincent Nicotra. Ah yes, during the interview with Sarah, it came out that she had in her possession a laptop and phones that apparently had explicit pictures of Onision's once wife, now husband Kai, sent to Sarah when she was still underage. Hearing that, Chris of course told her to send them to him or the FBI. Oh right, that didn't happen. Instead, she was told by Chris that he has FBI connections and to send the laptop and phones to his incompetent web producer Vincent Nicotra, but somehow the laptop and phones were never delivered to the proper authorities. They were just kinda left there for weeks until Sarah finally requested for them to be sent back to her so she herself could send them to the proper authorities. Now, in this point in time, it was fairly well known that Vincent Nicotra shared or owned Chris Hansen's Twitter account and often would answer on Chris's behalf, let's say. Some responses being seen as quite passive-aggressive or rude, and he was prone to making mini rants. Now, with the copyright strikes controversy, mishandling of valuable items, and a large portion of the community criticizing Vincent and pointing out his incompetence, which eventually led to Chris Hansen firing Vincent Nicotra. He had a massive meltdown on Twitter that carried on for days, insulting and
doxing people. Yeah, we forgot to bring that up, lol. The doxing continues. Just pause the video and read these screenshots and you'll get it.
Taking over Chris's website and just filling it with insults, and just continued with his childish tantrum. Now, most of it is deleted by now, with only fragments remaining, but it's still there, you can probably find it. But wait, there is another side character that has gotten Chris criticism and damaged his overall credibility as a journalist. The other side character to damage Chris's credibility, who was also part of the Onision investigation, and our second side character is no other than Mike Morse. Now, Mike Morse himself is facing and dealing with many controversies, allegations, accusations, starting with sexual assault of 2 women, namely accused of inappropriately grabbing a paralegal and a receptionist and making inappropriate comments. He's also accused of being a part of an alleged conspiracy that an insurance company claims involved unnecessary medical treatments and millions in kickbacks, set up by a federal magistrate judge, which from what I can find out is still being investigated by federal agents. The conspiracy is supposedly allegedly having started back in 2012 and lasted until April 2018, and involved him and others paying more than $375,000 to obtain police reports from 2 Detroit police officers, which was all hidden from the government. But most of it is at the time of this. The investigation is still ongoing, so I'm not really going to delve further into it, but to say the least, this Chris working together with this man did in fact damage his credibility. But I think it is now time to move to the main part, the Onision investigation. January 2020 is when Chris Hansen himself visited Onision's home in an attempt to interview him. And absolute comedy occurred. Onision called the police on Hansen. They just have that register. Just think about that for a moment. Imagine the responder asking, "Who is it?" and you responding, "Chris Hansen." It is honestly comedy beyond belief. The police did of course arrive, but took no action towards Chris. Now we all know that Onision is a mature, intelligent adult, so of course he did the mature thing and decided to file a lawsuit against Chris Hansen, which took place on January 24, 2020. But here's the twist. Onision successfully filed a lawsuit against the wrong Chris Hansen. You can't make this up. The entire situation just ended up being a mess that felt like a fever dream. But nonetheless, it did happen. It is 2020 after all. Nothing is impossible anymore. But now, what if I told you that it is alleged by a very reliable source that Chris Hansen has sold an Onision investigation for a fair bundle of money? Now, some people might go, "No way!" But taking into consideration his money issues, it's clear that everything he's doing or has done or will do is for a profit to get out of his debt. As does the concept of him selling the Onision investigation does not sound too far-fetched, nor does it sound impossible, nor does it sound unbelievable. Now, we have gone through a lot, but let us shove the final nails in the coffin, so to speak. In March, a certain pandemic occurred. You might know of it. And what did Chris Hansen do? Well, he started creating streams about the pandemic, and of course interviewed a few quote-unquote doctors who claim to have one of the greatest inventions in scientifically and medical history, created by the company that those 2 doctors were there to represent. And what is this invention, you may ask? Well, a pandemic-ending vapor that was, of course, a commercial product that you would have to buy. And this live stream that Chris did with those 2 doctors, most of it was in fact a massive product placement for this product. Lovely, is it not? And of course the vapor is absolute bullshit. I don't think you need me to tell you that, but the website and Twitter account for the invention called Nano Vapor were most likely fake, same with their Facebook page and the other sites, as they all look like they were made in a few days, and most of the data on all of this has just vanished into thin air now. So it's safe to assume that it's a massive scam that Chris Hansen just simply went along with. And I'm not going to really delve further into this product, as it's not the main point of the video, but considering he advertised the product himself, and since of me writing the script right now, the stream has been removed from Chris's channel by YouTube themselves for violating the TOS, most likely for spreading false information. It's safe to assume it's bullshit. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not done yet. Since, Chris Hansen promoted the phone made by Roberto Escobar, the brother of Pablo Escobar. That Pablo Escobar. He promoted the Pablo Escobar phone too. Yeah, Chris promoted it, of course. Oh, and the phones are actually just a Samsung Galaxy Fold, just with some coloring and stickers on it to hide the Samsung name on the phone. So Chris Hansen promoted another scam. But wait, we're still not done yet. Because Chris Hansen has a cameo. Yes, a cameo. The most amazing part of it all is that Chris Hansen will say literally anything, as long as you pay him enough. And this is internet, so of course, what did people do? People abused it, and you're still not done. Yes, well, you see, he promoted a pyramid scheme led by John Crestani. I mean, at this point, I'm just completely speechless. What the hell else do I have to add here? It's not even the end of it. Honestly, you can make an entire video only about all the ways Chris Hansen has sold out. Now, as for the Onision investigation, there was a back and forth between Chris Hansen and Onision, with Onision himself offering to have an interview on his channel with Chris, which Chris then refused. Then the back and forth continued, where Onision said that he would do the interview on Chris's channel on the condition that he disables donations and ads, Chris's that is, which then Chris himself refused originally. But due to all of the flack he got, Chris eventually caved and offered to do the interview anyway, and also disabling monetizations and ads and all of that stuff. But only if it was pre-recorded, which then Onision agreed to, but only if he can record the entire interview himself as well, so that nothing is, cut out. But Chris rejected it, and apparently Onision eventually did send an email saying, screw it, he will do it. But apparently Chris's people, quote-unquote, never saw that reply by him via email. But there is a lot of doubt there. The back and forth somewhat continued on Twitter with a low-key debate war between the communities, but it never really went anywhere. With all that having happened, Chris Hansen stopped talking about Onision somewhat, and instead set his sights on Davi Vanity, which ended up with the infamous interview with Jeffree Star, which was beyond, it was a sight to behold. Well, Jeff, mostly, allegedly, pretty much, kind of, said that he knew what Davi Vanity did and was doing, all the horrible actions, but Jeffree simply turned a blind eye to it all and spent most of the time excusing his actions. It was an interesting interview, to say the least. It was a disaster where Chris Hansen got played by Jeffree Star in the most epicest of ways. But back to Onision for a moment. That's what Chris likes to do, especially in his newer interviews and live streams. He spends about 99% of the time talking about whatever subject he has set his eyes on, and then proceeds to mention Onision at the very end, for just a few minutes. The motive there is clear. He mentions him just to get a few extra clicks and to still keep himself relevant in that specific circle of people who want to see Onision taken down. Now, as I was writing this very script and finally finished it, thinking that I was in fact done, Chris Hansen himself decided to prove me wrong by going live on YouTube. And on this live stream, it was a mess. Most of it was literally Chris Hansen just lying about everything, and it was a complete dumpster fire. And as the dislikes and like ratio further rubs in, the live stream was genuinely full of lies, deflections, bad arguments made by Chris Hansen himself in a half-hearted attempt to counter the claims and allegations that have been levied against him. One of the main allegations or things being levied against Chris Hansen was him selling the Onision story, which he countered by kind of saying that no, he didn't, but he kind of attended a pitch meeting, but kind of did. The entire live stream was just so full of deflections and lies. I would generally recommend watching the entire live stream, as it is a train wreck. I don't think I'm going to get further into it, because that's not really the point of this video per se. But plus I don't want this video to be longer than it already is. It's already pretty bloody long. Go check the livestream out. It is worth a good laugh. If he has deleted it by now, then I'm sure somebody re-uploaded it, so it's still worth a lovely watch. I think this is the end. I hope now by the time I'm done with this video, most likely there will be new developments regarding Chris Hansen. But my goal here was to simply go through in detail Chris Hansen's history prior to coming to YouTube and everything he has done since coming to YouTube so far. Such as all the scams he's taken part in, all the controversies, all the allegations, all the lies and selling out. But if you want to know more about it and want to hear more about what, just if you want to know more, I heard that Repsion is working on his own video about Chris Hansen, and Jon Snow just recently released a really good video going all over the scams and shady activity Chris has taken part in, which some of what I didn't even know about, some of what I did talk about here. But honestly, huge thanks to Jon Snow, because it did help me write about more in the sellouts part of this, because there was a lot that I didn't actually know about. I had no idea that the Escobar phone thing, nor did I really know about nano vapor thing in detail, because most of it has disappeared into thin air, so Johnson was a huge help there. It really made it easier. I will also link every single source that I used for the making of this video down below in the description, of course. And honestly, I've been working on this video for almost a month now. Hopefully the wait was worth it, and I'm working on other videos as well. I'm just taking a long time to get them out, and my deepest apologies for keeping you all waiting. If you want to keep up to date with all of my shenanigans, you can follow me on Twitter or join my Discord, which links to both are down below in the description. If you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more content from me, subscribe. And while you're on that roll, hit the bell button as well. Now before we properly end, I have to thank my patrons and my top tier patrons, Fomenter and Crash Dog. Thank you all so much for supporting this channel and me. And with all that said, see you lot next time. Hopefully sooner than this time.